Alright, hello there everyone, how are you guys doing? This is Ryan here with the Wisefire Alliance with Team Wisefire, and I'm going to be bringing you a deck tutorial today on Tzolkin Nekroz for the Summer 2020 format. This is a deck that I think has a lot of potential going into this format. It's definitely a different strategy. I've been testing it a lot. It has some really great perks that go with it, so it also hasn't been discussed too much over the last couple weeks, so just wanted to go ahead and do a tutorial on it. Real quick here, shout out to our sponsors, Wisefire Alliance, Eden Gaming, and Maydo Gaming for allowing us to be able to have a channel like this and just to be able to support our community in a great way. Alright, I want to start out here by just getting into the deck list overall. This is one of the ones that I've been testing around with the most. There's obviously flexibility with it, and I'll go over some different deck choices and stuff later on, but playing 3 Brio, this is the searcher in the deck. Discard, add any Nekroz card from deck to hand, or monster from deck to hand. Unicorn just came back. It's a floodgate, no extra deck effects for your opponent or for either player. And then also you can discard it to go ahead and get a Nekroz card back from your graveyard. Colossus, I tested this at 1 for a while. I definitely think you need 2 for the grind games. It can be discarded to add a Nekroz spell, and it also has a quick effect to where it can target a face-up monster on the field that was special summoned from the extra deck, and it changes its attack to 0 and negates its effects. Trishula is Trish, so when it's summoned, it vanishes from hand, from field, and from grave of your opponent. And it also prevents targeting for your Nekroz monsters, but it's not essential for the combo, so you don't need to play more than one. Valk is extremely good. Discard, banish a Nekroz from grave, and end the battle phase. This is really good for protecting your Unicorn, so you can go off on your next turn. And then Ceravist here is good for target protection. It's searchable in the combo if you already opened up one of your pieces, so it just gives you early protection from things like Eldritch and Infirm, stuff like that. If you're looking here next at Ben 10, so Ben 10 is part of the combo. You summon it, it searches out your Christia. We play 1 Shuret. This has synergy with your wielders and also just being a good card in general to be able to ritual summon, but it does have synergy with the rest of the deck. It's a decent normal summon that allows you still to be able to combo. With that here, we go into our tuner extenders. We play 1 Cock-a-doodle-doo. I was playing more than that for a little while, but just changed it up. This is just a tuner extender. It also just happens to make itself a level 3 when it's special summoned, so you're actually able to special summon your wielder. That way, if, like, for instance, let's say you go into your Cock-a-doodle play and you special summon Wielder, and you go into Needle Fiber and then negate that, you can still go ahead and go into your Ward on plays with that spot 3 by normal summoning it. So it's actually still super nice to be able to go into that. Wielder is essential for the combo. There's 2 combos in this deck, one of them with Wielder, and another one with just that spot 3. And so and we'll go over those in a second, but you play 3 of these because you absolutely want to see it. You even play the 1 Itali as you see down here because it's a way to be able to further extend. Despot 3 is the main combo piece. Summons out 1, gets everything going. 2 Despot 1, again, essential for the combo piece. If you open up 1, it's perfectly fine. If you open up 2, it's a little difficult unless you opened up another like tuner extender like Cock-a-doodle-doo. Gigantus is your Earth search that you can do. You can also play Nibiru to go ahead and search out, but Gigantus is used for the combo. Okay, so with Coltwing here, this is the only hard brick in your deck. If you open this, it's pretty much impossible to do your combo, at least from my experience. There might be some way with certain extenders to go through it, but I haven't found a way yet. The card is really good though. You absolutely need it for the combo. Obviously your chance of drawing it isn't super high, but when it does happen, you just have to play regular Nekroz. Christia, if you open this, it literally doesn't matter. It just means you don't have to worry about your Ben 10 search. But it's part of the combo, so you gotta play 1. For spells, we play 1 Itali. It's wielder access. It also gives you access to Needle Fiber if, for instance, you don't have access to a tuner. Triple Call by the Grave. This is a deck that, if its combo goes off, it just kind of wins. So you definitely play 3 Call by. 3 Dark Lord No More. Instead of playing hand traps in here, since we want to be going first, the way that I built the main deck was that if you do go second, because if you play against control, you already have a lot of good cards against control anyways. If you're going second against a big combo deck, they're going to get their full combo through anyways, especially since most decks can play through like 1 interruption. So overloading your deck with hand traps will hurt your consistency. So I'd rather just play the 1 Dark Lord No More. Shout out to Greg for this idea. That way when you are going second with this deck, if they set up a big combo board, you have a way to out it. You blow through it with your board, you set up the Christia, and you can't do anything about it. With that as well, we're playing 2 Kaleidoscope. This one banishes from extra deck to special summon a Nekroz. Cycle, banish, or send from your hand to special summon from grave or field. Or from hand or grave, sorry. And then mirror, banish to special summon from hand. And then Great Preparation of Right, consistency card, is absolutely essential. For some side deck options, Lightning Storm, Drag Down, Evenly, Pointer, Nibiru, basically just generically good side things. Obviously, this is going to depend on what your worst matchups are, and you'll just have to go through testing with the deck. But these are a good place to start. Lightning Storm just good against back row. Drag Down lets you to keep your combo pieces going. Evenly good against back row. Pointer stops you from getting blown out, and obviously Nibiru is just a good card. For the extra deck, we'll start over here. We got Needle Fiber, Auroradon, Dugares, Gallant Granite, Abyss Dweller, Daigusto Emerald, Elder Entity Knits, 3 Herald of Arc Light. This is the main key combo piece. You resolve this usually about 4 to 5 times throughout the combo. 1 Cthulhu. This is definitely the best other level 14 hero to play because you get to draw a card. Coral Dragon is essential for your Tzolkin plays. It's also good going second because it can destroy opponent's card, and when it leaves the field, you get to draw. Tzolkin is essential for one of the main combos. Crystal Wing is what you summon off Tzolkin, and Savage is pretty easy to make thanks to Cold Wing plays. So that's going to be the main deck, and we're going to go ahead and get into some combos now. Alright guys, so the first combo here is going to be with Despot and Wielder. As you can see in the opening hand here, it's going to go ahead and go through it. Despot 3 should not actually be engraved. There we go. So Despot 3 will go ahead and get normaled, and you'll bring out Despot 1. You'll go ahead and link both of those into Needle Fiber. Needle Fiber will sum out your second Despot 1. You will go ahead and go into Auroradon at this point, summoning out your 3 tokens. Right here, both Despot 1s will trigger, summoning each other. Both just summoning themselves. You'll make your first Herald. You'll go ahead and make another Herald. You'll overlay your Herald for Granite. Here, if you played Nibiru, you can add Gigantus to hand if you want to. Like if you open one or the other, but I only play the one, so you'll add Gigantus, and then you'll go ahead and add the Unicorn off of the Arclight. Continuing on here, you'll go ahead and use the Auroradon effect, summoning out Colt Wing. You'll do Colt Wing as your Chain Link 2 and your Herald Chain Link 1. Make sure, basically the order, you want to make sure that you search out Brio, Unicorn, and Kaleidoscope. Those should always be your first 3 Herald searches. So right here, Colt Wing is going to trigger, which special summons 2 tokens, level 3 tokens, that are machines. So because of that, both your Despots will trigger again, not once per turn in any way. So from here, you'll basically do the same kind of setup. You'll make your Herald, and then you'll go ahead and make your Cthulhu. You'll overlay, this is important here, you want to overlay your Cthulhu and your Colt Wing together because you need a synchro to be over here, and it's better to have the Herald because right here, you'll get an extra draw off the Cthulhu by its effect. So you'll draw off of it because of its effect on under Daigusto. You'll then use Daigusto. It's very important here that you put back both of your Heralds because that's how your numbers will work in the end. And then also, so you'll draw, and then you can kind of put back whatever you want for the other one. Some people do Needle Fiber or like the Despot 3. I personally like putting back the Cthulhu because it's another Kaleidoscope target. At this point, you will fusion summon your Herald and your Daigusto together to make Elder Entity Knits, which just needs a Synchro and an Xyz monster. And then off the Herald, you'll search the Ben 10. From here, before you go any further, you're going to use your Brio. Your Brio is going to search out your Colossus. Your Colossus is going to go ahead and search out your Cycle. These are important because you need to make sure you do your searches before you put a Herald on board for this for the 3rd time. So here, because you're going to be ending on extra deck monsters, you're going to go ahead and use your Kaleidoscope to summon out Unicorn because you're not going to end on a Unicorn on this board because it would be counterproductive. So you'll send Herald. With Herald, you can go ahead and search out Cerebus here. This protects you from targeting. We'll go ahead and overlay the Knits and the Unicorn at this point to make a Dugares. At this point with Dugares, if you have like other extenders, you can technically do the draw combo for it. But at this point, what you'll want to do is detach both to bring back the Colt Wing. And then you'll go ahead and use Colt Wing and Knits effect, both of them, whichever chain link you like to do. Knits is going to go ahead and pop the Dugares because you need the space on board, and then Coltwing will get 2 tokens again. Because there were 2 machines, you'll go ahead and summon back both Despot 1s. You will turn one of the Despots and one of the tokens into a Herald. And then, because Coltwing now has a token on board, it's a level 7. So go ahead and you'll use your Coltwing and your Despot 1 to go ahead and make Savage Dragon. Savage is going to protect you from things like Evenly or Lightning Storm. I always put my Savage in defense just because you don't need it for damage on your next turn, and it does help you play around Lightning Storm. So you'll go ahead and put the Fiber there. At this point, you'll special summon out the Wielder, because this is a level 3, and you'll go ahead and make Coral Dragon here. And now this part is very important. When you use Cycle here to summon your Brio back from grave, it's very important that you banish the Ben 10 because the Herald is on board. If you don't do that, and your fairy numbers in grave will be messed up, and your Christia won't be able to get special summoned. So you'll go ahead and summon out Brio, and Ben 10 will still trigger even though it was banished to go ahead and search out Christia. At this point, you'll go ahead and Synchro Summon your Brio and your Coral Dragon together to make Tzolkin, and you'll get to draw a card off of the Coral Dragon, which I forgot to do here, but at this point, you'll go ahead and banish the Granite to summon Gigantus, and now you will overlay the Gigantus and the Herald into a Dweller. Dweller detach the Herald, so we'll go ahead and search out a Nekroz spell. That way you are able to set it. That will trigger Tzolkin. Tzolkin will go ahead and summon out Crystal Wing, and then now, because your grave has 1 fairy, 2 fairy, 3 fairy, 4 fairies in it, you can special summon out Christia for free, and then this is going to be your board state, and you still have 5 cards in hand, so if you open up like Called By or Hand Traps, whatever you may be playing in the deck, you can go ahead and set those. So that is going to be this combo right here. It's really nice because you have graveyard negates, you have a negate for anything here, you have no special summoning, you have a monster negate here, and then on the next turn you have damage because you have 3,000, 28, 21, and 17. Keep in mind that because you use Dugares, you do have to go straight into your battle phase on your turn after your draw phase, so that's why it's important that you make sure you have damage at this point here. But that's going to be it for combo number 1. Again, that's just off of Despot and Wielder. Alright, so this combo here is going to be directly off of just Despot 3. This is the most common one. You're going to go normal summon out 3. You're going to summon out 1. At this point, you're going to go ahead and go into Needle Fiber. Needle Fiber will summon out 1 again. Go ahead and go out into Auroradon here. Sorry if you guys hear that clicking. Auroradon, summon out both of your tokens, or all your tokens to get your 1s. And then you'll go ahead and get to Herald. And Herald again. You'll make Granite. Granite search out Gigantus. And Brio. Again, most important things are getting Brio, Unicorn, and Kaleidoscope. So you'll go ahead and summon out Coltwing. Same thing again, you're going to get your tokens, add Kaleidoscope, and summon back your Despot 1s. Your 1s here will get turned into Herald and Cthulhu. You'll go ahead and overlay again here for Daigusto, draw a card, put back the Cthulhu and 1 Herald. And I actually end up making a mistake here. You actually need to put back both Heralds here, or else your numbers aren't going to make sense in the end, because you're not going to end up having your Ben 10 banish. It's going to be in the grave. So it's important here that you actually do put back this other Herald, or else your numbers will be off. So that was a mistake on my part. I correct it in the end here. And then also, for some reason, I banished the Granite here, even though I'm not summoning the Gigantus right now. But that'll come back up later. So right here, you're going to go ahead and Fusion Summon for Nits here. And that'll add Ben 10 off of the Herald. You'll go ahead now, you'll summon the Gigantus. And you'll make Dugares detaching both to draw 2, because you already have everything you need to go ahead and do the simple lock. So you can go ahead and draw cards, and you'll discard whatever you don't want, and then your Nits will go ahead and pop the Dugares. At this point, this is where it was important that you, as you saw me there, I put back the Herald. You do need to shuffle back both of those 2 Heralds originally, or else your numbers will be off. So Kaleidoscope right here is going to go ahead and send a Herald summoning Unicorn. Herald will search out Ceravis. And then right here, you're going to go ahead and use Brio, searching out Valkyrus. because it's a battle fader for you, so it helps protect you, especially for this combo, because your Unicorn actually can get ran over pretty easily here. At this point, you'll go ahead and cycle, sending Ben 10, summoning Brio. Because of that, you can search the Christia. We already have it, though. And then at this point, in your grave, you have the Nits, 2 Heralds, and the Ben 10. So that'll go ahead and be your 4 fairies, so you'll get Christia. So this board right here ends on Auroradon, Unicorn, Brio, and Christia. So this is basically just the Christia Unicorn lock, but you also get a lot of searches off of it, and it's obviously only off of the 1 card of Despot, so that's the really nice part of this. For people wondering what you do if you don't get these combos, you just go ahead and play regular Nekroz. Unicorn is still super oppressive. There's still ways to get the Christia out, attribute summoning, so you just play regular Nekroz at that. Alright guys, so now for the perks and the negatives. So looking at the weaknesses and strengths of this deck, so we'll start out with the strengths here. It is consistent. Nekroz has always been known as one of the most consistent decks ever, and with 3 Unicorn, it's very easy just to put a Unicorn on the board. That's one of your main goals, because it's oppressive still, and it has so much ways of protecting it. So it's very consistent, and even with the combos, they're all 1 to 2 card combos, so again, it's just a consistent way. There's flexible builds. There's so many ways you can play Nekroz, whether you play combo or incantation or anything like that. There's just so many different ways you can build it. Even for combo, you can play with things like Cockadoo Do, you can play Despots, you can play Jets. There's just a lot of stuff you can do. There's a lot of routes. There are times where you might open up weird things, like you might open up like both your Despot 1s, or you might open up Despot 1 in a tuner, or whatever it may be. There are ways to still do things even if you don't get both your 1s specialed out. So it's just really cool to be able to see all those different routes, and then there's different ways to play around things if you get interrupted. Obviously a high ceiling. The boards are insane for going first. There's just so many ways to either lock out your opponent or just be able to have overwhelm them with gates and floodgates. Speaking of which, floodgates, having access to Christia and Unicorn in the deck is already, I mean, Christia no special summoning is so good, especially in this format, and Unicorn stopping extra deck, it's just obviously we know how oppressive that can be. And then also Dweller, of course, is just really good right now because there are so many graveyard effects. And then one of the great things with the deck is that it does have non-destruction removal in Trish. Still very underrated is how good Trish can be going second. Being able to manage things that can't be destroyed by artifacts like Golden Boys, stuff like that, just to be able to get them out of the way. Even like salad cards, just to be able to play through negates. It's so good, and then being able to overwhelm them afterwards. So those are the positives for sure. The negatives definitely is a linear combo. The combo itself is very linear. It's very easy to stop if you know what it does. So because of that, you do need to know how to either play around those stoppages or you have to play cards to make up for that. So like I said, it's easy to stop. The deck at the moment has no good outs to Nibiru or Dark Ruler no more. There are things you can side or main to help you out those, for instance, and I'll go over those in the text. But overall, your main deck is not going to have a great out to Nibiru or Dark Ruler no more. It's a really hard Eldritch matchup, especially if you only end on the Christia Unicorn board. If you end on the full board with Tzolkin and Abyssal and stuff, it's pretty easy to stop Eldritch at that point because they don't get summoned from grave. Even if they use like the effect to send to grave or they open up Insane, it's really, really hard for them to out that with the full combo. But if it's just Christia Unicorn, they actually out it super easy because the Eldritch just sends the Christia and then it summons itself back and runs over the Unicorn, and then they can just go fully off. That's why searching the Valk is really important if you're only ending on Unicorn, because you really do need a way to protect the Unicorn, that way they can't pop off with their synchro plays. But because of that, and because of how many hand traps Eldritch can play, the normal Eldritch matchup is very difficult. The good news is you do have a lot of other good matchups in the meta. Salad you should be favored in for the most part. Poltergeist is a little difficult, but can definitely be done, especially with full combo. Even Emancipator, because if they're not playing hand traps, they can just lose going first, and you have a decent chance of going second, especially if you're maining things like Dark Ruler no more. The final negative is that, honestly, the deck has been power crept as in terms of a pure version. There are just decks that have better Floodgate monsters and decks that have better consistency at this point. But that doesn't mean that Nekroz isn't viable, especially with for Unicorn. It still does have the consistency, and the cards are still really good. I mean, every Nekroz card in this deck is something that has power. So it has been power crept a little bit, but it's not necessarily in a place where I think that it can't be played. So some tech ideas here. Gizmek Uka is one of them. This card's just so good. It can summon out the Barrier statue, as you can see on the screen here, and since all your Nekrozes are waters, it's actually really easy just to be able to summon out that Barrier statue. When they summon out Needle Fiber, they have to pass, and then you just OTK them with Nekroz cards. As you can see, in my main deck, I didn't play any Manjus. I wanted it to be strictly combo. The Manju is definitely a card that if you're feeling like you're not resolving your combo that much, so you really need to be able to do a little bit more, then you can throw some Manjus in there just to give you some more options to make sure that your Unicorn goes through. Vanity's Ruler is also an option. There are ways to obviously summon it. You can go ahead and tribute it, and then it locks out your opponent. It's just another, basically, way to floodgate your opponent. And then one of my personal favorites is White Howling. White Howling is if you control a water monster, you can target a spell in your opponent's graveyard, banish it, and they can't hit, and all their spells are negated for the rest of the turn. This is a really good way to out Dark Ruler No More, which is like the biggest thing this deck loses to, because if you end on like Unicorn, for instance, you can go ahead and use this, banish their spell, if they have one in graveyard, and then you can go ahead and go from there. It really just depends. Honestly, the better thing to play over White Howling is like a pointer, just because it's a lot more generic. But White Howling is still a really good card, and it's another floodgate that just can lock out your opponent. Also, you can play Imperial Order, things like that if you want to as well. And then finally, for my deck ratings for this deck, like I said, I like this deck a lot. The difficulty is moderate. The combo itself is very easy. The deck itself, in terms of grinding, is a little difficult. So because of that, I put it as a moderate deck because it does take a little bit of skill to play around things. The overall combo itself is very, very easy. Once you get used to it, it's very easy to play, and the only hard part really is adapting it to hand traps. Going first, the deck is phenomenal. It's one of the best going first decks in the format. You see the boards that it makes. It has resiliency for it, so I give it an A+ for that. Going second, even though Trish is a good card, your lack of deck space doesn't allow you to play a lot of good go second cards, so you can really struggle against combo decks for sure. Consistency, every card in the deck is consistent. It screams consistency, so I give it an A for that. OTK potential, it's really good. Your cards are all really big and fairly easy to summon, and so because of that, the OTK potential is really good. It just has a hard time going second, which is why I didn't give it higher than a B. The grind game, it's definitely a C. If your main combo goes off, you go through a bunch of your resources, even though you have so many cards in hand, if they break that main board and they can set up like a couple of negates through that board, it can be really difficult for you to grind in, just because with playing rituals, you're inherently normally going to be having a -1, because you're constantly going to be using things from your hand or field to summon out another monster. So because of that, the grind game can get really iffy, especially against heavy control decks. But the good news is that's what siding is for. We have lots of siding options for it. Overall, I give the deck a B-. I definitely think that it's a mixed deck, so it has control options, but it's also got the combo for it. It's definitely a rogue option. I don't think that this is something that you'll see consistently at like LCS's online right now or anything like that. But it's a good option to use for when regionals start up and at your locals. This is definitely something that I think you could definitely use to overwhelm your opponent. So that is what we are looking at here with Nekroz. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Leave your comments and suggestions down below if there's anything you think about this. We're going to be trying to get out one of these deck tutorials about once a week. There's going to be different ones from the meta. This is just the one that we wanted to start out with. And then they'll change to be updated throughout the format. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Go ahead and just subscribe. Also, all the links to our sponsors will be down below, as well with links to everything you saw in the videos. So, as always, you guys have a great day. Keep stopping by, and I'll see you in the next video.